So,
Okay.
hi, Miklós.
Hi.
Thank
Hi.
you.
It's working.
Yeah, it's working. Everything is working fine. And thank you for making your presentation from Amsterdam Solution Focus World Conference now online. So a wider audience can get a glimpse on your work. So thank you for that.
Thank you for the
And
opportunity.
very cool. And maybe you could say some words on yourself and then make your presentation and your work. Thank you.
Yes, of course. So my name is Miklós György. I'm from Transylvania, Romania. I'm a psychologist, ABA therapist, and other things. I don't like this. So I work mostly with people with disabilities, children and young people, but also families, couples, individual therapies. And my work I will going to present now is about working with children and young people with disabilities in groups using solution-focused approaches and kid skills method mostly, but not only. So usually in my area, I am known as a crazy psychologist who does uh, things. How did they say? Solution focused hocus pocus with the children. So I'm in good relationship with my colleagues, and if they don't want or they can't work with a case, they send it to me because there is a crazy psychologist who uses some solution focus, hocus pocus, and it's going to be good for you. So, and I am working with children since 1999, so about 25 years now. I started as a martial art instructor, and I also was a teacher in a school. So then I became a psychologist. So uh, I have some experience with children, but 25 years, it's not a long time for me because I think every child is different. So,
Yeah, yeah. Ah.
so usually I work with difficult cases.
Hmm.
Um, and I had a teacher who told me that the key to failure is to work only with difficult cases. But because I'm coming from martial art, I know that nothing is random. So every child or every person, family who comes to me, it has a reason that they came to me and not to somebody else. So this is my main approach that there is a saying that when the student is ready, the master appears. So when the people are ready come to me, they will come to me. So
Mhm. Nice.
and maybe I could start the presentation.
Presentation.
Can you see it?
Yes,
And now I think
you can switch to
it's
yes.
bigger.
That's
Okay.
perfect. Yeah, very well.
So it's about effective group strategies for children with autism and disabilities, and about how can we overcome obstacles and embrace solutions. But usually we need a team for this, so it's not happening by itself or only with me. So we'll see that we need some team effort. And I decided to start with some opinions about kid skills, about solution-focused methods. These are the opinions of some youths with disabilities between 9 and 29 years old, but mental age between 5 and 12. So for me, they were children. So some opinions about the solution-focused methods I use with them. Somebody said it makes me feel myself important like Spider-Man, or learning skills makes me deal with lessons from school better, or it helps me smile more often, and I discovered that even an autistic person can make others happy. This was very interesting because we managed to transform the stereotypes in a skill, making somebody happy. So not laughing and not doing some like the other said crazy things, stereotypes, but using it, transforming it in something useful. For example, to make somebody laugh when he's unhappy or sad. Another opinion, it makes me understand why others are usually mean to me. They have a lot of skills to learn in order to become more valuable persons. This is from a person with disability, a girl who was bullied, starting with her own family, even. So it was very emotional. She decided to teach the bullied persons some skills in order to not be bully anymore. So, or another opinion, it helps me not to give up when something seems difficult. Or nobody from the children's home wanted to play with me before because I am different. I felt lonely. Now that I have my hachimaki, the other kids want me to teach them also how to become better in something or to learn some new skills. I will tell you about hachimaki later. This is a headband. It's very interesting. Or kid skills method is like intoku. Intoku is a Japanese expression meaning do something good secretly. I also will tell about this later. I can get help when I have difficulties, but in the same time, I can also support someone who needs help learning a new skill or becoming better at something. Or since I learned to deceive the evil elf who sits on my shoulder and whispers in my ear what kind of bad things I should do, I can control myself better. So this is externalization, another technique I will uh, show you later. And my main objective is to show you how to implement solution-focused approaches within a group of people with different disabilities. You will discover how can we use our own abilities, which are very important to be aware of this, our own abilities, special skills in the therapy of people with disabilities. And you can also discover different ways to apply the kid skills method and how to transform our qualities and superpowers. So very important to be aware, everybody knows herself or himself, but working with children or young people with disabilities, I always have to be aware of my qualities and what kind of quality skills I can use with them. So for example, I had no tools. So even before I become a psychologist, the only thing I could use it was martial arts. So how could I use martial art and the philosophy of martial art or the Bushido, the code of Japanese samurai warriors in a therapeutic way? So that's why it's very important to know what kind of qualities do we have and what can we use. For example, at the workshop, one of the attendees told about being funny, humor. So humor is very important. I always use humor in my approaches. So for this, I have a very good exercise. But before, I will tell you about my team. So I choose 17 young people with disabilities because they told me choose one or two, and we should prepare them to some special Olympics in judo. But this was not a good. It was a good idea, but the problem was that we had from Bucharest the answer that we cannot represent Romania because we are Hungarians, and we cannot represent Hungary because we are Romanian citizens. So I can't understand this response. So we said, okay, then I will choose more children with different difficulties that nobody can deal with, and I will apply at the beginning ABA therapy, behavioral therapy, combining with martial art. Then I realized that solution focused therapy works better, and they are uh, more willing to involve themselves using solution focused approaches than behavioral therapy. So I had about 17 young people divided in two groups because it was a lot. Even this way, if I think back, it was a lot. 8 and 9 children in a group, different disabilities, different levels. So their mental age was between 5 and 12 years only. So some of them were verbal, some of them non-verbal, and usually they had more diagnoses. So ADHD with ASD, or Down syndrome with ADHD, or all of them together. So it was very colorful team. So this is the exercise I did. I needed a few months to do it and realize it. What can I do? But you can write it down, and you can reflect on it about your best qualities, 2 or 3 best quality skills you have, you think that this is good for you. Then you can choose one of them, then recall a situation when it was the most useful to you, or when did you discover that you have this quality skill. So this you have to think in your childhood maybe, or be aware, when did you discovered you have this skill, or when did you use it. Then reflect on how can you enhance this quality skill to make it more effective in your practice. So it would be very easy somebody to tell you, do this, do that, and it's okay. So everybody can do this. But psychology and working with people with disabilities, it's not so easy, and not so, it's not working like this. So I have to start with myself. What do I have to offer to the others? And how can I enhance this quality to make it more effective in my work? So because no university can teach you how to deal with different persons with disabilities, and in a group even. So this is a very important exercise for me, and I usually rethink it. And so it's not only once I do it and now I know everything. No, I have to do it almost with every case. Let's see, because martial art doesn't work for some of them. So I had to use something else, maybe the mentality, maybe the psychology, the something theory. But with every child, every person with disability, I have to rethink this exercise and see uh, what can I use from myself to help him. So in order to be something personal. So not general, because general, I cannot use something general for each children.
Mhm.
So I will tell you about my exercise. It can be funny at the beginning, at first, but as much as I reflected on it, I realized that this is a superpower for me. So being able to do something like this, I had to have some superpower. So I will show you my exercise. So my best qualities are perseverance, funny, so humor, and belief. Belief is I believe in persons and families that I work with. So because I think that they came for me for a reason. So as I said, when the student is ready, the master appears. So I have to believe in them, and I believe in them in a solution-focused manner, meaning that I believe that they have the solution. So I'm not giving them the solution. So they have the solution, and I'm helping them discovering their own solutions in their own ways. So I choose perseverance because I used to be a martial art instructor, and one oh sorry, it's yes. And because I was very perseverant, at one point they started to call me the tiger from Hargita. I had another nickname, Mickey Lee from Bruce Lee, but usually my friends call me Mickey Lee. But at the big championships, I was called usually the tiger from Hargita, because no matter how hard I got hit, I was not stopping, backing off, or quitting the fight. I was keep moving forward. And as a result, I had funny moments, funny then, because many of my best opponents had to go to psychologists after fighting me for several months, even had an interdiction to fight me in the future. So at that point, this was funny. But after, if I think about this experience, and you will see later how can we transform something so powerful, some feelings in some actions. So I will present you four techniques, I don't know how to name it, uh, four techniques I use in my work. It's about intoku first. Something is a Japanese expression. In English, it's translated by charity, but it's not a quite very good translation. The best translation is in Hungarian, means tégy jó titokban. So do something good secretly or in secret, meaning without expecting something in return. So how can I teach this for my students with disabilities? How can I explain to them what does it mean? So we made a group experiment. I made them sit around in a circle, and we started to talk. And it was a group experiment. If you have the opportunity to do something good to someone, his or her reaction should be, so returning the favor. You know, if I do something good to you, you have to return the favor. Because I was good to you, you must be good to me at one point also. So I asked them how many people felt good, had benefit from your kindness. We had I don't remember the what we used then. It was a real conflict, for example.
Mhm.
So somebody did something good with the other, and the other returned the favor. And I asked, how many people felt good, had benefit from your kindness? And the answer was two, me and you. Okay, we have another option, option B, to help someone else who needs it rather than returning the favor to you. So, I don't know, can you see the mouse cursor? Okay,
Yes.
so for example, I was teaching a skill to somebody but she, instead of returning me the favor, she was teaching somebody else a skill, that somebody else was teaching somebody else, and going this way. So this way they could understand, if I don't return the favor, but do something good to somebody else, how many people can I help? Just with one gesture. So
Yeah.
I help you, Kati, you help somebody else who helps somebody else. And this is
It
a
never
chain reaction. And I probably got this idea from the movie Pay It Forward. I saw it many years ago before starting to teach in school. And I recommend you, it's on YouTube in English and Hungarian also. And it's very interesting that a boy, Trevor, finds a way to change the world. He says that if I have 3 people, and every people I have helps another 3 people when he needs, so on, the world could be much better place. And that made me think for years. And I think when I find about Intaku, this was for me the best opportunity to do something differently, because with the persons with disabilities it's very hard sometimes to teach the same skill to somebody else. As the kid skills method says, if I learn a skill, I have to teach it to somebody else. Okay, we have some skills. For example, one of the kids wanted to learn to masturbate in the toilet instead of publicly. So where can I find somebody to teach the same skill? So I find a way. Okay, he was learning this skill, but he was teaching another skill for somebody who needed that skill. So here are some skills that we learned, we worked with, to whisper or making others laugh, to do things faster and on time, to start a conversation with another person, for example, in case of ASD, autism, who has difficulties to start a conversation, to make friends, yeah, to make a friend, to be able to do some things independently, to be able to touch others and let others to touch her, even hugging. So there was a young uh, woman, about 27, 29 years old, I think, that I was the first person in her life who ever hugged. She had some sensorial difficulties. So first time when I touched her, uh, she felt 2 meters from me. It was a sensation for her that a truck hit her. So even a slight touch, it was very painful for her. So after a year, she was able to hug me because she wanted to hug me, because she saw that every child, every kid was hugging me, and it was so good. And she wanted to be the same, to be able to hug me also, or to look better, to read more fluently, to learn to do push-ups, to run faster, to learn a poem. He had attention and memory difficulties, to listen more to the teachers and the parents, to let others finish what they have to tell instead of interrupting them all the time. So this is some of the skills they wanted to learn. So one it was learning a skill and teaching, helping somebody else to learn that skill. So about Intaku, I would like to share with you Intaku, what means exactly, because about 20 years ago, when I was a teacher, we had some volunteers from Hungary, and they came and they asked us to bring some children from the orphanage to ice cream. So we went to ice cream, and we were buying the ice cream, and one of the Hungarian volunteers, uh, uh, she not throw her ice cream, fell on the floor. So she said, "Oh, it was my best. Whoa, I like the strawberry ice cream." Oh, well, no problem. And there was another child from the orphanage who also had the strawberry ice cream. And she looked at her and she said, "Okay, you can have mine." And she said, "Wow, you're so sweet. Thank you. This is my favorite." Also, has started to eat the ice cream. And after she almost finished the volunteer the ice cream, she realized that the kid is without ice cream. And she started to ask me, "Teacher, why you didn't buy another ice cream for the kid?" And the little girl, she had about 10 years old, I think 10, 11. She turned to the volunteer. She get up and bowed, like at the training, and said "Intoku." So every time we bowed, we didn't say "os" or the other martial artists say. We said "Intoku" to remember the other and myself to learn to be a better man every day and do something good secretly. So she bowed and she said, "Intoku, you can do something good with somebody else too." But the volunteer was so angry at me. But "Teacher, you're the worst teacher in the world. How could you watch the child not eating ice cream?" And for she was so angry that she ate her ice cream. So she couldn't understand, and she wanted to buy the little girl another ice cream. And I said, "No, no, it is her choice." So even in Kids Skills method, we teach the children to be responsible. So if I give my ice cream to somebody else, I give it because I decided to give it, not because somebody is going to buy me another ice cream. So otherwise, it's pointless. So it was a very cute gesture, but it was more than that. So for days, the Hungarian volunteer didn't want to talk with me because I made her eat the little girl's ice cream without giving another ice cream to the little girl. But the little girl was so happy and looked at me, and I said, "I'm proud of you," because it was her favorite ice cream, and she was coming from the streets. So, and not every day got some ice cream, even in the orphanage. So it was a big deal to her to get some ice cream and her favorite ice cream. And when she saw the other one that, oh, the volunteer, "Oh, my ice cream is gone. It was my favorite." He said, "Okay, it is my favorite also, but I will give it to you to make you happy." And she wasn't expecting any thank you. She said, "Intoku, do something good with somebody else too." So, but the volunteer didn't understand. So I think she's still mad at me after 20
Wow.
years.
Have to teach her in Toku too.
Yes.
Mhm. Mhm.
So the second uh, uh, method, let's say, it was the art of transforming suffering in sadness. It was very interesting. I started to develop it in 2004, but in 2005, I gave this name accidentally when a child, after several suicide attempts, asked me, "Teacher, what are we doing here?" And I said, "We are doing the art of transforming suffering in sadness." And she looked at me, she said, uh, "What does it mean?" And in my head, I said, "I have no idea." I have no idea why did I say this, but it was the first thing it came to my mind. But after I thinking about this, I think it came from a Buddhist saying or teaching, maybe, suffering is a choice. Suffering is a choice, and sadness uh, goes away sooner or later. So that's why we have to transform the suffering in sadness, because we suffer as long as we want to. So when I stop to the sufferance, for example, go to a psychologist or start to talk about it, or different ways, asking help, for example, then the suffering is transforming to sadness, and sadness can last 1 day, 2 days, 1 month, 1 year, but sadness doesn't last forever.
Mhm.
So eventually sadness goes away. So this why is transforming suffering in sadness, because sadness is goes away. And another main things I use it that if I can not change something, I will use it as an opportunity. So many things are we cannot change in our lives, or it's not depending on us. So instead of suffering because of this, how can I use this for myself or for the others? For example, I had starting in 2004, I have two death sentences from two different doctors. It meaning that I had some medical issues, and one of the first doctors said me, I have no idea what do you have, but if I don't give you treatment, you will die in 2 weeks. Okay, I left, and he got angry, but it wasn't logical for me. If he doesn't know what I have, but he knows that in 2 weeks I will be dead, it wasn't logical for me. The second one, after 3 or 4 months, after many examinations, they told me that I have about 8 months to live. So I never told to my mother or nobody else, because I knew my mother, and she was panicking all the time. And I told myself I don't need this. So I wasn't able to walk alone on the streets. I was very dizzy. So I decided that if the Shaolin monks is a famous style, the drunken master style, being drunk. If I said the Shaolin monks can train being drunk, why could I not train being dizzy? So I started to train dizzy. Nobody knew that I'm not home. So I went to a training place, and I was training. And during the training, I developed this method. Okay, I cannot change this. I will fall. I had to understand that I am dizzy. I will fall if I'm not getting help from somebody or wall something. I will fall. So I reached the point where before I fell, uh, I started to fall. It was like a slow motion. I knew how I'm going to fall, how I'm going to react, how I'm going to get up, and what I'm going to do after I get up. So it was sometimes scary, because like it was like a slow motion. When I felt that I'm going down, before I reached the floor, I knew what I'm going to do after. So I transformed my suffering in sadness, because soon now I can walk on the streets. So I am working. I have a life. So it's different. So and I started to think that okay, if I used it for myself, when I started to be a teacher in a school uh, with 150 students uh, between ages of 11 and 18. Most of the students from there came from dysfunctional families, even ghettos, a few of them with mental disabilities. And I used this method to help the children who had several suicidal attempts, or they were raped by their fathers, neighbors, and others. So I had no idea as a teacher. I wasn't a psychologist then, and I couldn't do anything. I had no idea how to approach them. So I used this method. I made some changes, uh, and this method is about how can help somebody who doesn't want to talk about it, or doesn't want, but she can't. For example, because I'm a man, so how could she tell me how was she raped by her father to a man? So I was using this method, and this involves also martial art, Tai Chi. Tai Chi, it was very useful. So the idea was that I helped them how to deal with the mess from their head. the feeling of guilt, PTSD, and other things that they occurred because they couldn't talk about it. So I helped them with this method to learn to make an order in the mess before they start to talk about it. And this was, for example, in cases of rape, we have two possibilities. Or she starts to be suicidal, or she becomes a prostitute. Usually, this is the two options for them. And before this happens, one of this, with this method, I help them how to make something functional in their head. This way, it was more easy. Oh, it wasn't easy to talk about being raped by your father, but they could talk about it after a few months, even with me. So it was a study performed by Hungarian psychology students in 2004 among the children from the school. And they discovered that 80% of the students were abused in the past, even sexually, starting by their own father. So 80% from 150 students. So, and they had ages between 11 and 18. So, and one of my main starting theory was, if a problem causes problems to me, why should not be me who causes problems to my problem instead? So it is a very interesting theory. I was meditating about this many times, and it's like in skills, you know, if I have a problem, I transform it in a skill. This way, the problem goes away. So it's something similar. So if I have a problem, I can learn something that I be the problem for my problems. For instantly, when I was competing in the championships, I never fought for medals or belts or something else. I also was bullied in the schools and everywhere. So every match I had, every fight I had, it was about my feelings. So overcoming my feelings that I am not good enough, that I am afraid. So it was never about winning a champion. I won almost every championships I participated, but it wasn't about winning. It was the process going there. So I had a problem, for example, a self-esteem problem, and I transformed it. I become the problem for my self-esteem problem, and it's good. And it went away because I transformed the suffering in sadness, and this went away. So this is what I talk about. I was starting to use it on myself, then others, and after I became a psychologist, I also use it in psychotherapy. Sometimes I do Tai Chi in the therapy, for example, with difficult cases, in suicide attempts or rapes. So it's something I still use in my practice. So this is about kid skills based on the idea that confronting a child are best resolved by having the child learn a specific skill. So we have a problem, we transform it in a skill. So if the child doesn't speak, 4 years, 5 years old, doesn't speak, it's not a problem. She needs some skills to learn in order to overcome this problem. So, or the child is aggressive. This is not a problem. Problem or the invention of the grown-ups, because the children, as Ben Furman said, uh, the children see only skills they didn't master, so they don't see problems. We are the grown-ups who see problems in everything. So if I am aggressive, this is not a problem. This is a skill I have to learn, maybe to control myself, maybe something else, to learn something else in order to not be aggressive anymore. So this is also a video. I will show a video how were we training. It is a circle. I will show you the circle ring. Learning to control myself in a limited circle. So the word is very big for a person with disabilities. So many incoming things that they can't manage. So I was making a circle and I was teaching them to make an order in their mess in their head, then generalizing. For example, transforming stereotypical movements into something more functional instead of stopping them. So stereotypic movements, for example, doing like balancing all the time, or shaking hands, or laughing, uncontrolled laughing all the time, so without reason. So I managed with a 14 years old girl with autism to transform this with help of the ring and other techniques in dancing, for example. So dancing wasn't unfunctional. So dancing was cool for everybody. So nobody was laughing because she was dancing. So it wasn't a stereotypic movement anymore. Or she wanted to learn how to make others happy when they are sad. So this way, she was laughing only when we were telling a joke, or even she didn't understand the joke, but she was very, she wanted to learn, or she wanted to learn how to make somebody happy. For example, somebody was sad, and she went there and she asked me, "Are you unhappy? You know, I am learning to make somebody happy. I will teach you how to laugh, even if you are sad. Do you agree?" So it was very important, very interesting. And every time we met, she asked me, "Miklós, now you are sad? No? Okay, tell me when you are sad. I will teach you how to smile. Or are you mad?" She was learning the emotions also. What is like mad, being sad, being happy. So it was very interesting. So here you are, the video. And oppa. No, and here is the famous circle. So this is a circle they had to move. It was a controlled movement, some movement from martial art, some basics, but this way, the mess from their head, all the things they thinking of, for example, they had ADHD, they couldn't stay in one place for a long time. So this way, they stood in a specific place, but it was controlling everything is happening. So not running around the dojo, the classroom, they were controlling themselves. Then we were extending the circle, bigger circle in the dojo, then in the classroom, then in the whole school. He learned to control himself. So I will tell you more about these tires also. It was very interesting. The other girl, she's skill was finding the Smurfs. She was a blind girl, and she was able to walk only if somebody was holding her hands. Otherwise, she was sitting on the floor all the time. If we started to try to get her up or something, she had panic attack. So for several years, she had the panic attacks, sometimes aggressive behavior. So she was left alone, not doing anything in most of the time, both at home and in the special school she attended. She often said to me, "Miklós, I cannot see. I'm afraid." So I was teaching her how to recognize objects at the beginning, then how to work alone, how to use the space of the classroom, for example, or in the school. Uh, she learned to move around in the circle, holding my hands at the beginning, then without help, just following my voice. Next step was, instead of holding my hands, we were holding a jumping rope. So she was not holding my hand, but she knew that I am there at the other side of the jumping rope, and she followed me everywhere. And we were exercising. This is a chair. This is table, and so on. And after 2 weeks, as you can see in the video, she was searching for the Smurfs until she find them. It was my phone hidden somewhere, ready to play an episode from the Smurfs. So I knew then my phone is under near the sofa, and where is, and she had to go around and look for it. And when she found it, then 20 minutes of watching cartoons. So she also learned how to ask for help. For example, I'm not sure where I am. So she was starting to ask questions, or help following my voice. And the other one, no, this was even before that to stay down or to get up is a choice. So how can I explain this to a person with disabilities, that this is your choice if you stay down or get up? So this was the best way I could find, that, okay, you can stand up. I will show you the video first. So even in panic attacks, we use different breathing techniques. So we use the breathing techniques to avoid the panic attack. So this way she learned that I can be down, it's okay, but Miklós is not coming down to me to stay all day on the floor with me. If I want to play with Miklós or somebody else, I have to get up. But it's always my choice. I can go back down whenever I want to. So, but I can go up and down and go. And controlling my her breath, she avoided panic attacks because I'm not holding her hands anymore. So after a while, she wasn't crawling on the floor. She was going all over the place. And there is a one, once the parents called me that they got very scared because they couldn't find her at home. And after a short while, she entered to their yard and explained to her parents that she wanted some candy. So she took some money out of her parents' wallet and went out shopping. So she know how a wallet feels, how to find different things in the house. So she had no idea what is money. So she took some money she couldn't see, and she went shopping about 200 meters from their house. They went many times with her father, but this time she went alone and came back, bought some candies, and went home. So without any help, okay, the parents were very panicked. It was okay, but it was a very good, a real achievement for her to manage to do this by herself. So the third technique I use is externalization. It is a narrative therapy techniques by White and Epstein. I like Michael White's work. And this externalization therapy technique, I usually use it very often in my approaches. This technique allows the child to name one not only the skill he is going to learn, but the problem also. This way the pressure on the child decreases. For every behavioral difficulties, we blame something or someone else. So, for example, I am aggressive. The child is aggressive. So I separate the child from the behavior. So I'm not starting to yell with the child. I start to yell, for example, with the behavior. So this way, the child doesn't think that I'm a bad child. I don't deserve be loved, or I don't deserve anything, because I'm not blaming her. I'm blaming her manifestation behavior, and this is okay. So he's the fault. Okay, I can work with you together to make the behavioral problem disappear by learning a skill. And an example, a 12 years old boy with mental disability who had a stroke when he was born told me that an evil elf sits on his left shoulder, and whispered in his ear every naughty and bad thing he did until now. He named him Yoto, and he was very relieved that, okay, it's not me that I am the problem. It's Yoto's fault that I'm not doing anything right. On his right shoulder had another elf. This one was good, but he was whispering in a low voice, so all he was hearing was the voice of Yoto, who had a stronger voice. I started to work about the other elf on his right shoulder to have a stronger voice, but I don't know why it wasn't working. So instead, we were concentrating on Yoso to make Yoto to disappear. The boy was all the time slow as a snail, as they said to him, in everything, even in speech. So he decided to learn to be fast as a lightning and call this skill Lightning D. When in the group or in the classroom, the persons who were chosen by him as a support team observed that he is not exercising the Lightning D ability. They had to remind him with the phrase, "Come on, D, you can do it. You are a very good person." And the adults had to argue with Yoto, not him. So this was very important to respect the child. If the child says, you have to tell me, "Come on, D, you can do it. You're a very good person," instead of yelling at him that you're not doing, you didn't do, I don't know what, again. But this is the phrase you always have to use. And I have a very interesting habit that usually parents are watching me as a crazy people that what should we do? Because I tell to the parents, to the child in front of the parents, if your parents tell you something else, not "Come on, D, you can do it, you are a valuable person." If your parents tell you something else, that day you cannot listen your parents. You do exactly the opposite they say. You can do anything you want. And the parents say, "The psychologist told my child not to listen to me." And yes, don't listen to your parents. If your parents doesn't respect you, don't respect them. So it's very important the parents should learn to respect their own child and after to get some respect. So if my child tells me that this is the phrase I want you to tell me when I have difficulties, then you do this. You do something else, it's not for your child's benefit. So I tell the children, don't listen to your parents that day. So after a few months, he was able to do his daily tasks faster. We observed that even his attention and memory improved. But all this only in the dojo during the martial art classes and in the classroom, because at home they always forgot to support him. So after a time, even in the classroom, the teacher was forgetting. So because it was working, the method, but because the teacher and the parents, they forgot to do it, he made no changes at home. So the fourth technique is the positive gossip. This is one of my favorites, the positive gossip, because usually if I ask grown-ups to tell me something about the kid, they start to tell me, he's not talking, he's rude, he's not doing his lessons, he's blah, 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 blah. And they don't tell me anything good about him. So it's much easier to tell something bad about the other person than something good. So this is why I have a rule about this, but at the end I will tell you about it. And so during the martial art class, if one of the students started to lose control, I started a conversation with his team members about all the things he or she is good at. What do we like about he? We made no eye contact with him, but we had a gossip conversation about him, positive gossip conversation in front of him, instead of starting arguing with him. So it's about speaking about someone who is present, but ignoring him. So we knew that he is there, but we're telling positive things about him. For example, one of the students decided that he will not help us anymore in preparing the dojo, the place we were training. They say a dojo. Before starting the session, he even refused to bow before entering dojo. You know, in a martial art, you enter the dojo, you bow. When you go out, you bow. So we follow the traditional Japanese way, meaning we clean the dojo before and after training with rags and water using our own hands instead of modern tools. So it was a very important point in our training session, because before we started to train to be a better person, we cleaned the room. We made clean. So we had no cleaning lady. We had a cleaning lady, but she wasn't allowed to do cleaning in our dojo. We made with the children. The big cleanings, I made it, but every day, every time before and after training, we cleaned the dojo. So it was a very important process. So he doesn't want to participate. So I asked him to stay and wait outside of the dojo, only watching us until he changed his mind. So his teacher said, "Okay, he causing you problems. No more training. Back to the class." And I said, "No, just because I have some difficulties, I'm not going to quit on him. So leave it to me. He's not going to do anything. He's watching. He was on my eyesight, so it was the doorway. So he was a few meters from me, so I could watch him. He was safe, but he wasn't able to participate to the training. And in the next 3 weeks, he stood outside of the dojo in the doorway, watching us, even tried to disrupt the training several times. At the same time, we were using the positive gossip over and over again to remind him all the positive qualities he has, all the good things he did, what is that he still have to learn from him. We have to learn from him when he will resume his training. So we started to gossip about him, uh, about the techniques he did well, because everybody was good at one technique, for example. And I asked them to teach the others also how to do the same better. So we were saying, oh, we miss him. If he would be here, he could explain us how he did it correctly. And he was listening all the time for 3 weeks. And he was so stubborn. He wanted to enter, but he said, no, I'm not going. I'm not going to. So after 3 weeks, one of his team members, a teenage girl with ASD, got mad. And right after we started the training, and started to almost yell at him that I am sick of you just standing there and meow like a cat. You're a valuable person, member of this team. So get your ass back here and train hard to become more valuable person. We love you and we miss you. Why don't you can't understand this? And I was shocked. Uh, young girl with ASD saying something like this, and the others agreed. And after that, he looked at me, started to cry, and asked me my permission to enter and continue his training. And then everybody started to cry. They hugged him, except the girl with ASD. She was very upset because for 3 weeks she was very used to that the team was together all the time. But now for 3 weeks, somebody was staying outside and only watching, and this was bothering her. So, so get your ass back here and train hard. So, and before finishing that day's training, I asked the student in front of his team members how he managed to trick his behavior. So externalization, this. And he answered us proudly that when Gabi yelled at me, my behavior got so scared he started to have diarrhea. And when everyone told me that they love me, I realized that I don't like my behavior either. So I sent him to the toilet and I came back to train like a soldier to become a more valuable person. So he alone used the externalization. So I sent my uh, behavioral difficulties, my behavior to the toilet, having diarrhea, and stay there. I'm going to train hard. So training like a soldier. This was very interesting. You can see on the pictures, we have some tires. So when my students checked my Facebook account, and they saw that I was a teacher, a martial art instructor, and not only this, but I also was teaching in the army also, martial art. So they asked me, "Oh, teacher, we want to be soldiers. Teach us like a soldiers. We want to be soldiers. Wow, very tough persons." So I got some tires, and we started to learn. The main point was the therapy I used these tires for more uh, goals. For example, coordinating uh, eyes and body, or even balance, doing different things. So it was very good method, but they wanted to be a soldier. So this is a special training, and the tires were their favorite tool. And we also have an volunteer here, so I will tell you next about this. Oh, okay. So about the hachimaki, I will tell you about the hachimaki. I promise. This is the hachimaki, the handband. I had one with a tie, with a dragon on it. So everybody wanted to be like me as a soldier. So everybody wanted some hachimaki. And I told you, okay, we will make an exam. If you train hard, then as a result of your training at the exam, you will get something similar, a hachimaki. So they have here their name somewhere and the flag of Japan. So it was we were learning about Japan, about Jigoro Kano, the founder of judo, and about the samurais, the Bushido, the code of samurai. So it was very interesting. And at the beginning, when we were talking about participating at the Special Olympics, uh, they told me that, oh, teacher, we are afraid. We have no experience. They started to think, and I told them that experience, it's not about time. It's not about how long you are doing something. It's about how much you put from yourself, from your heart in that thing, and what kind of sacrifices do you make. So don't worry if you don't have experience, because if you train hard, you'll get experience. So it doesn't matter the other ones are training for several years. So years are not mean, it doesn't mean experience. So I don't know if they understood, but they started to train, and we never discussed about this anymore. And this hachimaki it's a headband used by the samurai warriors, but also many martial art students are using it all over the world. So it's nothing special, but it had a meaning for them because the samurais and I had a hachimaki, so they had to have a hachimaki also. So they were training for this and for the exam, which was, I told them, you will have an exam, but I won't tell you why or when. So it's not about like in other martial art that 1st of June we have exam, everybody to prepare. No, I said you have to train so hard that I will tell you at the end of the training, I will tell you if you had or not exam, and if you passed or you failed the exam that day. So I didn't like these rules, even when I was a teacher, a martial art instructor, that I have to give some belt for somebody. I don't know, yellow belt, green belt, or whatever, just because he did some forms and exercises, and everybody can learn those. So I told them, I will speak with your parents, with your teachers, and if your behavior, something changed about yourself at home in the school, I will yet let you to go to the exam. Otherwise, I don't know how many, I don't care how many kicks you know, how many forms you learned, you're not coming to exam with us. So the parents like this idea, because I had many times that they came with their teenage boy or girl. Please, teacher, we don't care about martial art, but teach him how to be a man, how to be a good person. So I was teaching, even if they were not interested about martial art. They were coming to the training and they were learning different skills. And these are the famous 5 questions they knew even in their sleep, because before and after every training, I put some questions to them and they had to answer. For example, who are we? And they had to yell very loud, we are very good people. And what is that we never do? We never give up. And why? Because we are brave. And what does it mean? It means that we do the right thing even if we are afraid, or it is hard, or we are tired, even if we don't feel like it. So these were many options, because they said, okay, when I don't feel like doing my homeworks, oh, this is a training also. So I have to overcome my feelings about it, and I do my homework. So I listen to my parents. So different cases, because I very often ask my students, what's the difference between athletes and martial artists? And I said, if you want to become an athlete, you have to train hard every day, or twice a week, or twice a day, or whatever. But you have to train hard. But if you want to be a martial artist, you have to train. Your training starts when you get up in the morning, and it ends when you fell asleep in the evening. So this is the difference. So they apply this method. They wanted to be a martial artist. So it wasn't about kicking and throwing somebody down or something. It was about all day training to become a better person. And the fifth question, why are we training here? To become a better man. So this was like a Bible for them. At the beginning and every end of training, we did this, and even during the day, they reminded each other that train hard to become a better man. So when they say they saw that somebody is not listening to the teacher, they were remembered about these 5 questions. And about the exam, consolidating the knowledge, I involved 2 volunteers. I asked 2 volunteers I know, can you come for 2 days as a volunteer and let the persons, the children with disabilities, to teach you judo, what they know. And it wasn't very easy to convince the volunteers to come, because they were afraid that disabilities, I don't know what is it. They were afraid of what should I do, what should I say or not say, or so it was very difficult for them. But even when I was a martial art instructor, the only way I could be sure that my student learned that technique, for example, it was to let him, put him, teach somebody else that technique. Then I knew that he learned that technique. So it's like in kids skills, you know, you learn a skill, but you have to learn that skill to somebody else. This, for this reason, to be sure that you learn that skill. So I involved 2 volunteers who came for 2 days, and they let the children teach them. So the first volunteer, she was very afraid, but as you can see, she's having fun. So with people with disabilities, she's having fun. She had for several days muscle fever, but but even now, the children remembering her name and asking me, when are you going to bring her again? So it was a very good experience for them. So fun, oh, fun, hard work and fun, and everybody was teaching something to her. So falling down, falling forward, or roll over my head or roll over my shoulder. Everybody had a special skills. He was better than the others. So they had to teach her. So as you can see, the little Spider-Man, they are besties. So, and she's training like a soldier with tires. So I don't wonder if she had muscle favors for several days. She was training very hard and having fun at the same time. So this is somebody is teaching her rolling over her shoulder. And as a result, from volunteering to being solution focused, we together in 2023, we funded together the TikTok Association to help children with disabilities who cannot afford the therapies from different sources, sponsors or some funds. So we founded together this association, and we're working together. So she's not afraid from people with disabilities anymore. This is the second volunteer. He also learning, and the children are so proud that they could teach him some techniques and how to become a better man, and the questions: who are we? Why are we training here? And they taught him everything they knew. And this volunteer, he was working in Switzerland, raising some money to build a house for himself. And after 2 days with the children and learning judo, he decided to quit his job. And from the money, he's going around the country and working with children with different needs in children's home, for example. And he liked very much the idea to teaching skills instead of problems. And he never did a training in solution-focused methods or something, but he liked very much the methods I used, the mentality I used with these children. And he decided that he doesn't need the house, so he's spending his money teaching other kids all over the country, different orphanages, different skills that they need. And this is the exam. At the end of the training with the volunteers, I told my students that this was an exam and you passed. And except 2 of them. So there were 2 people. I said, sorry, you also had exam today, but you failed. So you didn't do your part. You didn't teach the volunteers what you're supposed to do, because before we thought who will teach what for the volunteers. We were preparing for this, especially because we had a lot of autistic persons who had to be familiar with somebody stranger is coming to us. So I had to prepare them for a few weeks. So we decided who is going to teach what for the volunteers, but 2 of them didn't do their job. So I told them, sorry, you failed the test today. So I showed them, you have your hachimaki here. Your name is here. So it's not that I don't want to give you, but you have to train harder. So I will keep it at home at my place. And when you pass the exam, I will give it to you. And this is the moment of exam. They were very happy that finally they got a hachimaki also, even if it wasn't like mine, like with a dragon, but they got a hachimaki. And as you can see, I put a little spider. So it was, everybody had a different for himself. So they were very happy. This is the second time. The first time he didn't get the hachimaki. He was one of them. But after he didn't get his hachimaki, the next day, starting the next day, in the classroom, they had no problems with him. He was doing almost everything they asked because he was training to become a better person. So if he wanted to get the hachimaki, he had to train all day. So even if it wasn't in the dojo, he had to train at home with the family, in the classroom. So finally, when he got, everybody else had almost, but he got the hachimaki, he started to cry. And he was telling, he was sleeping with the hachimaki sometimes and going on the streets, home and school, hachimaki showed, I have a hachimaki also. So so they had the exam, but they had no idea that it was an exam. So this was the point, that I don't train just because today I have a training. And I didn't tell them that you have homework to do some homeworks. No, it was their choice to train every day because they wanted to become a martial artist. So it wasn't enough for them to be an athlete. They wanted to become a martial artist. So the training was started when they woke up. So for some of them, waking up and go to school, it was very long preparation. Because he knew that he is training with this, he was getting up earlier and preparing faster and going to the school on time, because he knew that the training started. When he get up, this training started. So he doesn't have to wait for me to start the training or come to the school. The training started every morning, Sunday, Saturday, also Monday, also every day. So they were training every day. And I used to say that learning skills is contagious, and I believe this, because soon after we started to learn skills, the word spread very fast among the other kids, specialists from the NGO, parents, even in one of the orphanage from the town, about the kid skills method. Sometimes the children ask me from the orphanage that what is that we need to do to join the judo classes and learn some skills to become a better man. And you know, every day the bus was coming and gathering the kids and bringing them home or whatever they lived. And the other kids from the orphanage, they was yelling, teacher, teacher, come to us. And I say, okay, I don't know them, but I hear. And they asked me, what should we do to become with disabilities? Because we want to teach us also. So before that, they were bullying a girl because she has a disability. Now, suddenly, all the orphanage wanted to have disabilities in order to come to me to teach them skills. So it was very touching. So, for example, a 40 years old man with mental disability, but also with schizophrenia, asked me to help him control himself. He couldn't come to the judo classes, uh, but he also heard about our practice, and he said he also wants to learn something to control himself. When he had a crisis, he just blocked in a position, sitting or standing, and wasn't able to move or neither to speak after some time. He looked very frightened, sometimes got violent. Once he has beaten 6 big construction workers who tried to stop him. So when he had a crisis, he couldn't be stopped. Um, Sometimes he stood in the same position for hours, even 12 hours on the toilet, for example. So the family couldn't use the toilet at home because 12 hours he was sitting there, and there was no way to move him. And usually he was seeing 3 to 9 devils, he said. And only his eyes were moving, and he was only mumbling when he had this crisis. It seemed that he understood us, just couldn't answer because of the devils from his head. His crisis usually had two intensities. The first, he blocked in a position, but he could speak. And two, he was not able to speak or move, only his eyes were moving. If we tried to force him to move, there was a good chance to become violent. So we dropped this idea. There was a very interesting, even strange thing about his crisis. The only person who could end it, it was me. Or if we just waited to stop, but we couldn't wait for 12 hours to stop. So every time I was around, the special educators called me to deal with him before his crisis become more intense, even dangerous. And one day he started to have the crisis when it was time to go home. Until I got to him, he was completely blocked already. At first, I started to speak to him. Then I turned to the devils and started to speak to them. I took the man's hand And I told the devils that it doesn't matter what intentions they have with him, he is not alone. If they want him, they will have to come to me too and look me in the eyes. And we were waiting, just waiting for several minutes. And after a few minutes, he started to move his hands, to squeeze my hand, then to move his head also. Suddenly, he started to laugh. I couldn't understand why, but he told me that he left because even the devils are afraid of me. This was a very interesting thing, that even the devils are afraid of me. And when I took his hand, they started to panic because they couldn't get to his left hand. The devils were kept telling him to kill everyone in the building, including me. But because they were afraid of me, they couldn't take control of him completely. But they are still in his head, demanding him to kill me, to go to the kitchen, bring a knife, and cut my throat. I told him that I know they are afraid of me because after I will count to 5, they will start to get out of his head and line up at the dojo's door. And after I counted to 5, he told me that now he can also see them one by one lining up at the door, the dojo's door. So uh, there was 9 scary devils this time. This was the upper limit. So 9 devils were in situations when he was starting to be violent. I asked him if he knows why the devils are afraid of me. He said no. So I told him because they knew that I'm a valuable man, and asked him who else is a valuable man, because he knew the drill, he knew the questions. We also repeated it few times. So even he wasn't attending to the dojo, to the judo training, he also knew the questions. So it doesn't matter if you're coming to dojo or not, you're a valuable person and you have to be aware of it every day. And after a few seconds, he said that he is. I started to explain to him that the devils are getting scared when they see a valuable man. So because they are afraid of me, a valuable man, means that they are afraid of him too, because he is also a very valuable man. After we repeated twice and loudly the main 5 questions with the specific answers, I told him that I can already smell one of them making in his pants, one of the devils. So using humor, as we told, so he started to laugh and told me that he can also smell it. So, and they want to run away through the dojo's windows. At that point, I told him not to let them run away. If they want to run away, first they have to come forward, face him, then they can use the main entrance to go away. So not the window, the main entrance we use also. But one by one, in order, not running, because it is not allowed to run on the corridor. So rules. This was another principle of the art of transforming suffering in sadness. Do not let problems go away when they want, how they want it. First, they have to face me. So it's not I have to face my problems. Let my problems face me. So because I am bigger than them. So first they have to face me, look into my eyes. Then after I am done with them, so I dealing with them. After I'm done with them, they can leave, but only when and how I say so. So he did as I told him. He called them one by one, showed them the way they can leave, and he even kicked them in the butts, laughing as they were leaving. So it was working. All 9 devils left. But after this event, we found out that his mother has interrupted again his medication at home. They did not follow the psychiatrist's indications all the time. So this is why he had this major crisis. So And there is a second case I want to share with you. One day I was stopped in the break by one of the students. He was about 22 years old. I'm not sure, but I think about 22, 23 years old. Uh, and he had a mental disability and he was in a wheelchair. He wasn't paralyzed, but he had several surgeries on his legs, but he couldn't stretch them and couldn't walk. His physiotherapist said that even he couldn't understand why. I don't know, this was a little bit strange. I think because I was a volunteer, they couldn't share some informations with me.
Mhm.
Maybe because it's very hard to believe that a physiotherapist
Mhm.
couldn't know. So because the building's elevator was broken in the last couple of years, the special education teachers had to carry him up to the second floor, then down every day. So this was a very tough, even especially because all of them were women. So it was very hard to carry him. And he asked me if I could teach him some skills also, because he knew about we are learning skills on the judo lessons, and he wanted to learn some skills too. And he wanted to have a running race with me. And he also wished to become a better man, even if he couldn't learn judo from us. And after a consultation with his teachers, they gave me a free hand dealing with him. So he was sitting all day in his wheelchair anyway, and he couldn't participate most of the activities because his vision wasn't so good also. So he was seeing only from this distance, a few centimeters. So this was an issue also. The next morning, he asked me, when do we start to prepare for our race? And I told him, right now. Yes, right now, we're starting. We are going. So I sent the teachers up. I said, he doesn't need help anymore. I will be here. And we started training. And but this is a very big skill. So before, because I was thinking, okay, running race, but this might be a very big skill from the beginning. So I asked him which skill has to be the first to learn in order to get to the running race. And he was thinking a while and he said to climb the stairs alone. Okay, we start there. So because having a running race was a very big project for him. So to climb the stairs alone. Before we started to climb the stairs, we followed the same routine as before the judo classes. We answered the same 5 questions. He was so happy when I helped him to get up from the wheelchair, learning, leaning on me. We started the climb one step at a time, step by step. I was speaking to him all the way up, encouraging him. First days were very difficult. Even first weeks were very difficult. He was heavy, so even I got tired until we reached the second floor. We had to stop, even to sit down a few times. We both were sweating all the way up and all the way down every day, even if going down was a bit easier. Every time we reached the second floor, we repeated the 5 questions with the answer. So when we reached the second floor, it was the same routine, even if we were not in dojo. So if you want to be a martial artist, you have to train everywhere. At the walls all over up, he had something to hold on with his hands. So after a few weeks, he was climbing the stairs almost alone, using his upper body muscles more. Sometimes he fell to the stairs. So we sat down for a few minutes, then we continued climbing. So every time he fell, he started to say that it is too hard. He cannot continue anymore. He will never be able to do it alone. Every time he fell, I sat next to him, telling him that it is okay to be exhausted. and I will wait for him until he will be ready to continue. It was good for me to rest also because I was tired. So so it was okay for me to sit with him. He also tried to convince me to leave him there or to call someone to help me carry him up because the other kids are waiting for me upstairs to play with them. So the other children was competing who is spending more time with me in the breaks and outside of dojo. So they were waiting for me. But usually when we got up on the second floor, they also already were inside the classroom. So the classes started. So, and every time my answer was, there is no other place I'd rather be than here with you, even if we are tired. So I will sit here with you. It doesn't matter. I will rest also. So after that, we will continue. And instead of quitting, I taught him how to breathe correctly. So because breathing, it's need for muscles when they make exercise, muscles need oxygen. So breathing correctly, it can be a very uh, helpful thing, and it was very helpful for him also. After a while, every time he fell or just needed to rest, assured me that he's only resting a bit. He's not giving us because he's a valuable person. So, okay, we're going to sit up, but I'm not going to give up anymore. So I don't want to give up, just resting. I said, okay, we are just resting. When you are ready, we are moving forward. At the beginning, I asked him if he could like, if he would like to have support team, but he said he needs only me. So he doesn't want support team. But every time I had the opportunity, I used the positive gossip, talking with the other kids about skills, training, become a better man, and about him in front of him. And he was so happy when he listened to us from distance, speaking good things about him. This not only motivated him, but also got him a big support team who were encouraging him on the stairs not to give up because he's a very valuable person also. So every time a person uh, went in front of him, he was encouraging him and went forward. So uh, he got a team, support team, eventually. And on his difficult days, I organized a welcome on the second floor moment when after we reached the dining room, everyone was applauding him for his efforts. And I asked the other kids who is carried about how to did uh, who is curious about how he did climb up the stairs. So everybody was curious. So he had to tell everything. How, oh, I had to sit down because it's very difficult, but I wanted to come to you and I want to become a very good person. And I went uh, up and I continued. So it was very, very motivating for him. Many of them surrendered him, and he started to tell them how he did it, even if it was difficult. Once I whispered in his ears, "You see, I think you are like a teacher for many of them." And he started to laugh. Oh, yes, I'm a teacher. So she was very happy. And he told me that someday he will meet someone in the same situation as him. He will teach him how he become a better man with kid skills. So it was very touching moment. After about 1 year, he was not only able to climb the stairs alone. I was just keeping him company, but he managed to stand up from the wheelchair and come to me for about 3 meters and back to the wheelchair alone, step after step. And when the other teachers saw us, they just froze. So what is happening? And after a Christmas celebration, he received a lot of gifts from sponsors, but he decided to give them to the other kids. But of course, his parents stopped him. No, this is for you. You have to keep it. Okay. But I got curious why he did it. So I asked him, and his answer was, I don't need gifts. I learned kid skills from you. And then he reached for me. He couldn't see me, but he knew I'm there. And he reached for me. He hugged me and whispered in my ears that, Miklós, you're a valuable person. You sat next to me on the stairs. So at that moment, I felt that he has no disabilities and he is the teacher and I'm the student. Because his verbal speaking was very poor, but this was the best way to explaining me that you sat next to me on the stairs. So this told me everything I had to know about him and about myself also. And after he let me go, he started to laugh and said to me that he hopes I am also training hard for our running race, and he won't go easy on me just because I'm fat. So I'm fat. So humor. So go train hard because I won't go easy on you just because you're fat. So I said, okay, I understood. I am training hard also. So and for preparing family, solution-focused methods are, Ben Furman used to say that it's very easy. Every parent can use it. But in my experience, it's not so easy because changing people mentality is not so easy. And for this reason, when I am contacted by families or couples for therapy, my first request to them is to make a family meeting before they come to me and tell each other at least two things that the other did good or better in the past week. It's okay, I am mad at you because you cheated me. I don't know what, or you are aggressive with the other children, or I don't know. Usually the parents starting to explain the problem, and the children are listening and feeling, oh, I am the problem again, I am the problem. So it's not this. So before they come to me, I'm giving them homework. So this is a strange uh, method, but usually I think it never happened that somebody didn't do the homework. So they did, and they were not as mad as they sounded at the phone, or they were not as or sad as they sounded on the phone, for example, because they had homework and they had to do it. And children's favorite thing is that if their parents are saying something negative about them, they have to say something positive also. Otherwise, the psychologists, I mean me, I won't care about this problem. So it's my child doesn't do his homework. Okay, and what does he do good or better than? No, nothing. Okay, so I don't care what just you said before. So let's start over. So, and the parents are saying, what is crazy? What is he doing with us? So, but the children are, see, you can tell about me only bad things. Let's hear just one thing, good thing. Tell me about myself. Just one good. See, so it's your fault, mom or dad. It's not mom. So this is a very interesting approach. And this way, the first session is not so intense because they also have a homework. They're also starting to change something. So, and I also introduce this exercise every week. So this is a homework for every week. Every week you should have a meeting in your families and tell each other what did the other do better, what he did very good. Everything. This week you had, I don't know, your clothing was better, or you made better food, or I don't know, you didn't, you arrived to school earlier, or I don't know, every little things counts. So it's about compliments. So making compliments, because even at my trainings, if I tell my students, we have 2 hours pause, please go on the street while you're eating, while you're having meal, and find 3 different persons and make them at least one compliment. And they cannot do it. And then I was very surprised. Why? So why is it's hard that I'm going on the street and I see someone and I say, "Oh, I like I like your clothing. I like your haircut," and go forward. So I don't have to change phone numbers or something. Just just a compliment. And the other one was, "Whoa, whoa, what happened? What?" So it's very, very difficult. So some references, and mainly this was my presentation. I added some new information that I didn't add it at the conference because the time was more limited. But I hope it wasn't too long and it wasn't too
Oh,
boring.
just wonderful.
So if somebody has any questions, you have my email addresses.
Yeah.
I have my homepage also in Romanian and Hungarian also. So there I have the story, why and how I became a psychologist.
Ah.
So
Can you just
it,
go back for a second to the references you had? Maybe just for if someone is interested, they can see it. Thank you. Anyone can stop the slide here if they want. Okay,
yes,
thank
of
you.
course.
Wonderful. Hey, Miklós.
Oh, we're back here.
Thank you so much for taking the time to retell all these stories and impress me. And I think impress everyone who watches this. And let's continue the conversations about it another time.
Yes, certainly.
Thank you so much.